Hey guys, welcome back to Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I'm surprised that we're already on case 4. I feel like it would have taken a little bit longer, to be honest. But maybe the next two cases are just, like, extremely long. Like, maybe case 4 and 5 are just much longer than case 3 was? I don't know, man. I guess we're about to find out. So, let's get my controller ready. There we go. Alright. Guess we'll start case 4 then. So glad this game has extra save slots. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea.
Tea.
Leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road.
Oh no.
And to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Maybe he had stealth camouflage. I actually don't know how far we are into this game, but there's only 5 cases, and we're on case 4 already, so I don't know. To me, that feels like we're halfway, but I don't know. You never know. Could be like Ace Attorney 1, where like case 5 is like 10 hours. It's like the longest case in all of Ace Attorney. Well, actually, the longest case in Ace Attorney is case 5 of Spirit of Justice, actually. So, yeah.
Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo?
No, not at all.
It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms are so luxurious. I feel like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day even in the middle of the night.
Well, it's always good to see Susato again. She immediately brightens up my day. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Buria, I wasn't gonna waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh man, that's me. That's me. Mood, sometimes.
Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed 3 pounds for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare.
Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance was so inviting. I just wandered in without thinking.
In a lodging house in Japan, the sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we presented with that bill.
I really am sorry.
Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less.
Ugh, London's a scary place. I'm gonna assume that's the Captain of Justice, or whatever his title is. Oh, good morning to you this early hour. Yeah, I was right. Oh, yes, yeah, well...
Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We've come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday.
Susato sounds amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into the British courtroom practices. Oh, yes. It was very eye-opening. Thank you. And... oh wait, wrong voice.
And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end.
Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh. No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. I need to stop speaking so fast so I can stop tripping over my words. Just like that one lyric from the Sonic R, right? Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem.
Another case? Already?
Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I?
It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it.
What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for?
Well, we do recall that Case 3 ended very unsatisfyingly. Unfortunately. I don't really see the reason to read this again, right? I know a lot of people like to read it again, but you know, we got it. So yeah, so Case 3, kind of a sus ending. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo, it's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended.
Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer.
Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. What the fuck?
No. What? Mr. McGilded is dead? The fuck do you mean he's dead?
I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk.
He's dead. So I don't get to do a funny Irish accent anymore? Hey, here's my R band.
To accept this item, issue a receipt, examine it thoroughly, and make a formal statement of my findings. It would require something in region of 24 seconds of my time.
Oh yeah, I think we've read this already. Well, I mean, I'm wasting 19 minutes of this man's time, so I gotta make it efficient. The Gilded's death. Well, isn't that fucking convenient that he's dead now? Now we won't get to know the full truth. And we don't have spirit medium crap back in this time, I doubt. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead?
After the trial concluded yesterday, there's a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom.
Yeah, of course. That was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of.
Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames.
Oh, yeah! But why did that happen? No. How could such a thing have happened?
That's being investigated as we speak. But already, the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of Mr. McGilded. That's awful. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention.
And how could that have happened?
That is also being investigated as we speak.
I kind of like that we're still, like, talking a bit about Case 3 and Case 4. You know, I like when Ace Attorney games, like, they follow up on the previous case, and, like, there's a bunch of new shit. Like, a good example of that is, Ace Attorney Investigations 2. The second case is kind of built off the backbone of the first case a little bit. And then Case 5 is also kind of built a bit off of, like, cases, like, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like, no spoilers, obviously, but, like, I love it when, like, everything comes back together. Like, every case mattered in some way. I mean, I guess in this case, you know, all the cases... So, like, a Case 1 doesn't really have anything to do with Cases 2, 3, and 4, honestly. And, same for Case 2, it has, like, nothing. It doesn't really impact Case 3 and 4 all that much. I mean, like, yeah, it kind of does, because Cosmo died, and, like... You know, he helped us in the first trial, but, like, none of the things really, like, plot relevant all that much. Well, I guess Posanaga was in Case 2, right? So, Case 1 and Case 2 are sort of linked in a way. But he didn't return in Case 3, and he's not in this case either, I imagine, so... Yeah. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus.
He did mention that. Well, I know, like, he said, like, they were going to examine it, you know? I'm really glad that I didn't get spoiled on this, because I have to get, like, character art for the thumbnails, and I'm, like, very careful to make sure I don't spoil anything for myself. And I may have gotten spoiled on a few things, but honestly, they could just be whatever. They could be nothing. You know, it could be like how I thought Sparta was the final boss of DMC1, and that was not at all true. That was just like a fake spoiler. Is that a good word? A fake spoiler? An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage.
But then who was Mr. McGilded talking about?
Never mind that now. The Yard's making a thorough investigation.
I wonder if the Scotland Yard's actually from Scotland. Or should I say Scotland?
This matter's no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police.
Poor Mr. McGilded.
Is, Sherlock Holmes gonna investigate it? So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Susato-san, such a way of words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones.
The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can.
Most advanced in the world, is it?
He was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair.
Simple? That was simple?
As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple.
Maybe it's simple for the British. I don't fucking know.
The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny?
No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent, wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much is at least an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he gonna say before? I don't know. I guess we're not gonna get to know yet, or until we figure out what the new case is.
Could you perhaps give us some more details of the new case you mentioned?
Don't tell me it's a murder, and trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming, quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different.
Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind?
That is to say, no one has died, as yet. And the trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly.
Hey, that means we're actually gonna get some investigation sequences.
23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise.
So the trial's tomorrow then. Is everything alright?
Oh, yeah, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was, well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo.
I don't know if I can face staying in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilda's trial.
Well, hey, you got experience though, right?
Oh yes, I nearly forgot. There's one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there's currently no one to advocate for the defense.
Oh.
If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
The most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Yes, that's right. Here we go again. Your time's up. You'll have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock's ever ticking. There's now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits.
Last time you mentioned the 23 hours, he said there's plenty of time.
And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There's something I should like to ask you.
Oh, what's that?
Yesterday you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your light compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside of 34 seconds.
Oh, well, Kaza always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing.
Oh. Another thing? Continue.
On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me.
There's something very important I have to do. Something very important? And what exactly would that be?
He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain.
You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me.
I urge you to both focus on your attention on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case.
Is that Luigi over there?
He'll be able to apprise you of the details.
How long has he been there?
So, I wish you the best of luck, and bid you farewell.
There's something very important that I have to do. Cosmo-sama, what did you mean?
I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we better talk to the detective, don't you think? Wait, so you're telling me there's 2 detectives in this game? First we have Sherlock Holmes, and now we have Luigi? Hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Luigi. Well, can I examine anything? Look at all the naughty books packed together on these shelves. They go from floor to ceiling.
And they're all books he couldn't help to...
I think we've read this before. Yeah, I've read this before. I don't think I really have a reason to examine this room again. Like, I think we're fine. Damn, bro, me too. I have no idea what he just talked about. Yeah, and I don't know when that message was sent. Anyways, let's talk to Luigi, I guess. He really does look like Luigi. Can we trouble you? Hey, what do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eating at your hand, you know? Susato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man. I'm a very busy man. Luigi's eating his taters. And my controller turned off again. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the lecture talking you. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with bigwigs these days. Hell, because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation of the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well.
I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer.
Eh? Just gonna give him the Super Show voice. Holy mate, what the fuck you want from me?
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant,
Eh?
It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it?
It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable. How did she pull that off? So, Lord Starlinghut has asked you to fill you on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard.
Gregson? Inspector Gregson?
What's the matter with Suzaru-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her?
Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson?
I haven't heard of this dude before. Wait, you're acting like you know this man, Mr. Sato, but he's a London detective.
Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact.
Very well?
Yes. He features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Ron's Magazine?
That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Holmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry.
Oh, so he's like the other, like, coin to, Holmes then, huh? Really? You rival the great Mr. Holmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Holmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise.
Now die with my highest praise.
Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those are his own words.
That's his highest praise?
Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see.
That he is not, and thanks to the magazine, my name's known all over London now. That's great, isn't it? Huh, I have to admit that to start with when I was little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not! There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Oh god, we gotta spread rumors and make them come true.
Are you quite sure?
He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that. So he's insecure, I got it.
Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you?
Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying. But I know what folks are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work.
Oh dear. Perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people.
I wonder if I'm able to... Oh, I don't think this is a case of me being able to present shit to him. Because I think if I pressed back, he would, like, go back into the background. Maybe? I'm not sure. I'd have to see. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as what I consider the yard, it couldn't be simpler.
Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated.
I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in a hospital unconscious.
That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack a poor woman from behind?
I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a Susanna takedown, would you?
That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo.
Brace yourself, Ryunosuke, you've angered her now. Yeah, you don't want to piss out. Piss out? You don't want to piss off Susato. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit?
Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question?
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Barrick Van Zeeks. I mean, we fucking kicked his ass in the last trial. Why would I be scared about that now? No. Sounds like you've heard of him then.
Oh yes, we're very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself.
The Reaper of the Bailey.
Nah.
He's small time, honestly. Lord Barrick Von Zeeks, we faced in court only yesterday.
Mr. McGilda told us about him before the trial, didn't he?
When Van Zeek stands with the prosecution, yeah, they call him the Sacrificial Lambs. He's got funny harpsichord music. And every trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname? I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it? He's just giving me that look. I wonder if I'm gonna call the episode, "Hey, fuck you, Luigi."
Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector. That in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
Huh, and what of it?
Oh, well, I think that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead.
Ah.
Magnus Begilly came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you? Yeah, but we don't know why the fuck he got set on fire, though. What are you saying? Look, if Van Zeeks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. Apparently that's how, Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright works. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that? I love how this man, he's like 50% face, 50% chin. I mean, look at this dude. That could be a good... that could be another good title. 50% chin, 50% face. Right, well, I feel the units requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. Sorry, I think you mean crisps? Get it right, man. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place?
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you meet the criminal himself. You've branded him a criminal already? He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in the cell, he is. It'll give you a chuckle, if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way. Inmate 53, thank you. How many inmates do you have? Inmate. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. I mean, I did fuck up on a few questions, so I guess it's understandable. The idea of facing the Reaper in a court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too. Come on, man. We're gonna lose another man if we don't take it. The man they arrested is innocent. You could well imagine he'd be shaking like a leaf in his cell. Now, I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try. So I think I'm gonna make some inquiries. Will you help? Do you really think you'd have to ask? After all, I'm your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes, let's go! Alright, I guess we're gonna move. We have Briar Road. You still haven't been here yet. I wonder what awaits us. And we have the prison. Well, let's try prison, because maybe we can say hello to our client. Oh, wow. It's like, not even a detention center, just a fucking prison, bro. So these are British prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. Just feels like a dungeon. Yeah, having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse. Apparently our client's in this cell here. It's so dark at the back of there, I can't make him out. I don't know what he's like. Hey, May 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop by at the back of the cell. Show your face at once. My cat? As yet with no name? Calling me by a number? It's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer.
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think is going on here?
I have no idea. I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. He doesn't look Japanese, is he? Excuse me. Quiet! I don't know what voice to give this guy yet. They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening, even now. I can sense it. Right, so, can I ask you? There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it! You're a ghost! A ghost? He's having a fucking spasm in there.
We mean no harm, prisoner-san. Are you Japanese by any chance?
This is beyond my wildest dreams! Man, who the hell is this poser? Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We are just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months now since I left my hometown, and here I am, in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a, most monumentally moving movement. Who could have guessed this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? Huh? What compassionate my fellow countrymen show! To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student! Noble, nurturing, never falling Nippon!
A first-class lawyer?
Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here.
I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example?
Yes, I can, I will. Shan't stay sullen and silent.
I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy.
Yeah, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be.
Thank you for
your cooperation. I'm a lawyer, as he said. My name's Ryanoshi Naruhodo.
And I'm Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Suzato Mikitoba.
I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notably, notoriously named Natsume. Soseki Natsume. Can I present you this? Yes, the symbol of our greatest empire's first-rate lawyers. Which means, of course, you'll stand by my side, you'll defend me. Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't why I was showing it to you. Then why else would you show me that? Oops, in hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. And now he's stuck, like, shitting himself. Soseki Natsume, I guess that's his name then, huh? Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see. A writer of haiku. Oh, I was gonna guess that he was a poet, because he spoke so, like, solemnly, you know? It's something of a nom de plume. A nom de plume? You mean an alias? Well, a lot of good writers do have aliases, I suppose.
That's right, Naruhodo-san.
No, no, no! Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that. And haiku? Really reminds me of home.
Did I hear you say that you're a visiting student sent over here by the government?
Yes, yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had to go suffer that misery. And now this! It's beyond the pale! Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No! I mean, I had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But, just cause the government tells you to do something, does it mean you can do it? No!
What do you mean?
If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I really don't know if this voice is fitting for this guy, but he seems so spontaneous that, I don't know, I feel like it fits in a way. I see. Only the other day, I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi. Wait, he's doing like the funny emoji.
You must be a man of great standing.
Oh yes, so I'm often told. And often just like to be told, it seems.
Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san?
I didn't do it! I didn't commit that atrocious murder!
Murder?
Oh, no, it's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes!
Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker?
I didn't see anyone.
What?
If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here?
Oh dear. Seems this case is becoming rather complicated.
Why me? Why me? Why'd that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker?
It's vital that we found out more about the case.
All we got about the case right here. It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and a heavy fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to the accursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too? As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet.
How terrible.
I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran, as fast as my legs could carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that.
Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours?
Don't be ridiculous! Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people. I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anyone pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Ah, great.
So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it?
What conundrum? Conundrum. Oh my god, it is actually called that. Oh, that's great. I don't know, I mean, I'm tripping over my words again. Book stop? What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum?
Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen.
I did! But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit. Huh? You? What did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly.
Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested?
Sorry?
He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place?
Footsteps, maybe? I don't know. Oh yeah, she's right. It was him! That cursed great detective! He led the police to me! Of all the bad luck! Cursed great detective? Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live! With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed, busybody! May you curse until the end of your days, Hairlock Sholmes! I knew it. Well, we get to see Hairlock Sholmes again. That's nice, at least.
Mr. Sholmes?
Hairlock Sholmes. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after that nightmare that unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a silver hard cheese, or sliver, not silver, when some men suddenly burst into the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police, put the weapon down!" Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting, dictatory, discrimination devils! Wait, wrong voice. You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Hairlock Sholmes? It's actually Herlock Sholmes. He's English. I since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London.
Yes, the great detective is really very well known.
And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me, this weak-stooped kitten of a man? I wonder what great deduction process led him to this conclusion.
Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable.
Well, he's been known to be fucking incorrect, like, several times. Well, thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in.
Of course you were. That's only natural.
I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me. in impossible English. Fiendish foreign film flammery. Wait, flim flammery. Well, we are in England, you can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Yeah, I mean, if I went to Russia and I killed someone, they'd obviously question me in Russian. Good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes I do, and I'm fine. Next thing I knew, I was in manacles. And before I knew it, I was thrown in here.
Oh dear. I'm afraid that's hardly surprising.
I'm fine? He's not fine now. You're not Apollo Justice. You can't say I'm fine. Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire! Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. When we're speaking English, a simple mister is more than enough. This is James McGill, Esquire. Oh, yes, alright. Yes, they really got to me. This country's poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell her what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, Why? Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. A student? I defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to be believing. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means.
Oh, Naruhodo-san.
I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband! That's the mark of defense lawyer from our great empire! It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me.
Oh, what do you mean? Who do you mean?
The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me.
Goodness. Why? Why do you say that?
For the same reasons you know before, when it happened. There was only the victim and myself around, and I ran from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. Must be very hard for you, Saseki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said. And, of course, the foreigner did it. So, what have we learned today? London's racist. The Emperor. They even had the gall to say, the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful. They're wrong! I studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these English people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Saseki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. Huh? I'll do what I can, for the time being. What do you mean?
We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If you can find some clues, it'll give us a much better chance, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
We should be going then, Mr. Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for.
Alright, well, we can't examine, so that seems to be all that we can do here.
Visiting cold, dark jail brings home the reality of a crime and punishment.
Alright, so now we have Briar Road. Ooh, we got a really nice looking background. So this is where it happened. Briar Road.
Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak.
That's their job, you know?
But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes? They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close. To a real Bobby's helmet.
What? The helmet?
Of course. I have to try one on one day.
Well, I hope your Hattie dream comes true. Hey, Mario! What's the Japanese delegation doing here?
Oh, Inspector Gregson.
That's Mama Luigi to you! This isn't on the tourist trail, as I'm very sure you're aware.
Yes, of course. We're here to investigate.
So you've been to the holding cells then? What do you make of the criminal?
He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect.
Huh, we'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do as you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens, and the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Mario's an ace attorney? No, this is Luigi. That's the stone cold air of rejection.
Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air.
That makes it worse somehow. Alright, well, let's examine first. We got these guys. That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene's undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons.
I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern.
Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing of what's going on.
Yeah, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all.
Ugh. Snowman.
What a delightful snowman.
I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. Looks a little creepy though.
Oh, it has a scarf, look.
You'd need one if you're out in this freezing cold all the time. Wish I had one.
I'm afraid our budget's somewhat frozen at the moment, too. We certainly can't afford a scarf.
What do you mean you can't afford a scarf? Aren't scarves, like, butt cheap? Surely a snowman here wouldn't miss his.
But the person who made the snowman certainly would.
Yeah, I know, you're right. Anyway. Even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck now, wouldn't it? It's covered in snow. Oh yeah, linguine, right, of course. I forgot. What about the bar? This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred.
Yes, it's a very wide open space, isn't it?
That's true. I can't see anywhere an attacker could be hiding. Hoi! What are you foreigners doing here?
Ah,
Oh, we just Conspiring with that mustache fella from Japan, are ya? Conspiring? Come here to store the evidence, have ya? Get out of here before I give you that Latin. Go on! He shoot us away. Wait, wrong voice again.
Shoot us away like rats.
Yes, we should give him a wide berth, I think.
What a disappointing experience.
What about the carriage?
Oh, that's a Scotland Yard carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals.
You're very well informed, aren't you?
It's long been a dream of mine to ride on one of those through the streets of London.
Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows, then.
But that would be being arrested in order to ride it. Wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone.
No, I wasn't being serious. Anything up here I can examine? No, I don't think so. I see a theory, but I can't find... Oh, no, I'm trying to switch the scenes, dumbass. What's this? Oh, look at the windows of that building there.
Are you sure they're windows?
Yeah, but they're filled in with bricks.
Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment?
There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though.
Oh dear. Everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place.
Nothing here? What about the bike?
Oh, a British bicycle, look! Although, the wheel's so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't be possibly ridden anymore.
Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling.
Seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dresses to allow them to ride as well.
The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that.
Goodness, do you dislike bicycles?
No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. If you ever tried walking on stilts and falling into a river, I know you'd agree with me.
We'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around.
That would be cute. What about this door?
That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history.
Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks indecidably worse shaped than the other houses around here. I mean, where I live, you can find a couple of houses that are still from like the 80s. And, you know, they look kind of cool, even if they're really old.
We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible.
Yeah, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonable level floors. I think that's it then. Unless I'm dumb. No, I think... Wait, hang on. What's this? There are piles of snow on the pavement here and there. The road itself is covered in the carriage tracks.
Seems carriages often travel down Briar Road.
I guess this place is popular or something?
It soon disperses all the snow.
I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. Seems like it'd be safer to walk on the road instead.
Oh, but you're rather small, Mr. Naruto, and dressed all in black. I worry coachmen might not see you, as you could be flattened by horses.
Yeah, actually, I tend to walk on the road when it's snowing, actually. I mean, when cars come, I just kind of jump out of the way. Because the snow is so much more clear than the sidewalks. Thankfully, it hasn't snowed in a few weeks, so thank God. Well, thank you for the rather small concern. Oh, okay, I'm just trying to, wait. What's this? clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? And with the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy.
Well, it is known as the foggy London town.
I can just make some sort of spire through the fog. Looks like it's still being built, though.
Haha, yes, that must be the Crystal Tower being built for the great exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time. Apparently, it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides, and the symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition.
It's to be the largest exposition in history, is it? I can't even begin to imagine it. What about this? Do you see all that black smoke rising from the chimneys over there?
It says here that in Great Britain, many people heat their homes in winter using coal.
The only chimneys I really remember seeing in Japan were on top of the bathhouse. Do you think some of those houses could be on fire?
Not at all.
Well, even so, that much thick smoke billowing up to the heavens is surely going to turn the whole sky black sooner or later.
Gosh, you may be right about that.
I don't know. We got a chimney on this house over here. Well, now I'm convinced there's something else to examine here. But I don't see anything else to examine. Can't read the signs, man? That's lame. I don't have anything else to present. Actually, did I ever present my armband to you? Inspector Gregson, could I show you this? Am I supposed to know what that is? I've never seen that insignia before. It's worn by defense lawyers in the Empire of Japan, as a symbol of their profession. In other words, it's a worthless trinket here in Great Britain. Oh no, it's very important to me. It shows my spirit. An English gentleman keeps things like his spirit very much to himself, I'll have you know. Oh.
Don't give up, Mr. Naruhodo.
It's too late. He's crushed my spirit already. Well, I guess we can talk to you now, finally. The Scotland Yard.
Tell me about the Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place.
The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, madam.
Oh, and you know, I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet.
Does make them look part. Seeing that policeman there with a helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city.
Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being in London, Bobby is hard going, I tell you.
Oh really?
First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes round and rouses all the laborers on his beat, so they can get off to work. What, he wakes people up? Yep, raps on their window with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit.
I had no idea.
But Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance. I mean, I can easily walk like 5 to 10 miles a day, so couldn't be that much worse, right? I mean, how long is a 5-hour walk? How many miles is that? You know, I'm actually kind of curious. Let me look this up. I want to fact check this. How many miles is a 3-hour walk? 3 hours is apparently 10 miles. Which means that he spends about 6 hours walking around the city. Well, I did like a 5-hour walk the other day, so that must be like 16 miles, maybe? You know, I can walk 10 miles like it's nothing. I don't know, man. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance.
Can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way. Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately a distance from Tokyo to Yokohama.
On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps. Oh, I guess those don't get turned on automatically like they do over here, huh?
Oh my.
And I suppose in between all those duties, bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well?
And chase after criminals trying to evade the law?
I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly. More like alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men killing over from time to time, I admit. How could you know so much about miles? Because I walk every other day, man. I take like a walk like 5 times a week. Usually around 2-hour walks. So it gets my exercise in for the day, basically. I heard apparently you only need to walk like 30 minutes a day, but I go the extra mile. I like to walk, no pun intended, by the way. I like to walk like 2 hours every day. And sometimes I just take the day off to like rest my muscles or to, you know, do other things. But yeah, I'm going to Walmart tomorrow, so I'm gonna be walking like 5 miles or something. Usually from home to Walmart is like, it's like a 40-minute walk, I think. Something like that, yeah.
I'd always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruto.
Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. It happened around 5 in the evening 2 days ago, just there on the open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with the blade from behind. It's right that the lady's still unconscious now. You mentioned that she's being treated in hospital. I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all. I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course. Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want. Really? Are you sure? It's the art of policy to give lawyers, defendants, suspects the odd bit of information to go on. I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still.
Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept.
Oh, you know what? I thought of something. We don't have Inspector Hosanaga anymore over here, so I guess this guy is gonna be our inspector replacement. And then Sholmes is just gonna still be our detective. So wait, we have detectives and we have inspectors. Are those like the same thing or are they different? Because I don't know, I haven't really heard much about inspectors. Those aren't in most of the Ace Attorney games, if any of them. You're about to finish SMT4. I'd say like a 2-hour walk burns about 500 calories on average, which isn't bad. Street map. Actually, I should probably have a look at that. Street map of the local area showing where the victim was found. We have Meerschaum Street, Briar Road, and Calabash Road, and this is where the victim was found. Gotcha. Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head-scratcher, is it? Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around, but...
But just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present.
I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
It what?
We have two very reliable witnesses, no less.
Oh.
It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them.
Witnesses now?
Witnesses? Well, let's do tomorrow's trial first. That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not?
Well,
Makes no difference to me, but I will just say this. No London lawyer with his salt would touch that case with a barge pole.
because the prosecution's being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean?
Huh, there's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It's all a bit strange, though.
Sorry?
The Reaper, he hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did hear something to that effect.
And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum. The master criminals, the violent ones.
Oh, he's like Virgil? Scum. Master criminals? The violent ones?
That's right. He handpicks his victims, only deals with those guaranteed to go over the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's being accused of, surely.
That's just my point, Sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase.
Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I can tell you what's going on inside that head of Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself, at tomorrow's trial.
Are you really gonna have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it? Well, we got witnesses. Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife, and the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of his London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard.
Ah. A policeman? That might change things. And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked? What, was he on his off day or something? You have to do part 2 of SMT4?
Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. But in the parcel of being a bobby, catching them and banging the act and all that.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask what you like. In court tomorrow.
Oh.
I've no doubt he'll be summoned as witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to.
That's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. Man, what's with all these fucking, like people I don't get to meet until court? The policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed. Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh yeah, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect. I learned that was Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
What are you bringing him up for?
Was it something I said? The color's drained from his cheeks. Oh. He seems to have got something to say about Mr. Sholmes.
Who did you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholm's inspirational great deductions.
Fiddle faddle.
Ah!
The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere. Oh. I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case. Yeah, he's quite astounding, isn't he?
He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gabble. Ever seen this before? Oh, yeah, that's Ronst Magazine.
That wonderful publication in which the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes appears.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, seems to fit include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called Great Detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone in the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any of Sherlock Sholmes' tale at all. So it's like defamation? Damn.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be affronted by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all of our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector?
I don't know, I kind of believe him, honestly. Clearly, the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. Well, I don't think we're gonna get any more useful information out of the detective. I guess Inspector and Detective are the same thing, then?
Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion?
Oh, yeah, what is it?
Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this.
Who? Sholmes? By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, exactly.
Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all of this, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in this case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again.
Oh, it's not. Oops. Trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address, even.
It's Baker Street.
Because she read his novels. That's probably why. How do you know that?
It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world.
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We better try to find our way there before Susada-san gets any more exciting and unpredictable.
Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage. Come on, man, she's wholesome. You can't knock that.
So we're to have a reunion already. The great detective, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. Yeah, and Linguini over here is gonna be all pissed off, I guess. Hey, you wanna tell me anything about the map before I go? Thank you again for this. Don't mention it. I had someone at the yard fish it out for me, but in the end I didn't need it. Oh? Well, the case could hardly be simpler, could it? I don't need a map to work out what happened. You can throw it away when you're done with it. Cold. Hey, I mean, I think the map will help, since we're not very familiar with the area now, are we? And, you know, I shit you not, there's definitely gonna be a moment in the trial where it's gonna be like, oh, point out what street this is on, or whatever. Or something like that. Oh, is SMT4 Apocalypse, like, SMT4 too? I didn't know that. Anyways, we've done everything we have here, so let's move. The new location. So we have the Sholmes Suite. Wow, we've already been going for an hour and 25. Here, let me take a quick little break and take a sip of my juice. Ah, that's good. Alright.
Can we really visit, do you think? Oh, pinch me. I must be dreaming.
Burnout. Advantage, gameplay, disadvantage, storing characters. We got a cutscene. This is important.
Thank you very much.
It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day.
Thanks again.
There he is.
The residence of Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Well, isn't it beautiful? I like when they throw in cutscenes every now and then. That's one thing I really liked about Dual Destinies. 19th February, 12:03 p.m., Sholmes Suite. Ooh, this is the most English shit you'll ever see. So this is where the great detective makes his living. Feels surreal to be here somehow. Oh, would you look at that? It is as described in the stories, Miss Susato. Or is it? I'm misreading again. Susato-san?
Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room.
Oh, I suppose they must have been, yeah? I've never read the stories, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be.
The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, I suppose I can, yeah?
So if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please don't mind me.
She's obsessed. Well, looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anyone home? Oh, do we have a visitor? The little lassie again. I can't do a high-pitched voice and British accent at the same time. It's so hard.
Hello? Is it a big new case from Mr. Sholmes?
Hello. Wait. Aren't you...
Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once.
Would you guys mind if I do that voice for her? It's so weird, though. I'm sure it's the same girl. Mrs. Otto, did you see the girl who was just here?
Oh, yes. Isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case.
The King of Bavaria?
King Wilhelm Gotstrake Sigismund von Ormstein, of course.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment and look over there.
The tea's brewed, and I have a freshly baked cake as well. Ah, it's you.
I knew it. Susato-san recognized her too. I really don't know what voice to give her, because, like, I want to give her, like, kind of like this baby voice, where it's like, gaga, you know? But I don't know if I can do that, like, for, like half an hour to an hour. I'm sure my wife could do a better job of voicing her. As they say, gameplay matters. As they say, neatness counts. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilda's trial in the Fenn's antechamber.
I never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London.
Oh, yeah, it was challenging.
Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know.
Yeah, I think that voice will work. It's the most, like, young girl voice that I can get, honestly. I want more vocal range. Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color? What color is it?
Oh my, what a fragrant
Yet mellow flavor. I mean, surely I'm not the only one who drinks tea with milk, right? Apparently, not a lot of British people do drink it with milk, but I don't know. I might be making that up. My favorite type of tea, as you may or may not know, is Earl Grey. That is my favorite type. But I also kind of like peppermint tea, but peppermint tea is very fucking rare. I don't know where the hell to get it at. So Earl Grey is the best. And then probably second best is English breakfast. So yeah.
Hooray! It's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you know? You must be exhausted after your long voyage here, and yet you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, dear.
Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, Shirley?
Mr. Sholmes is a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand today, even though he's just returned from overseas.
Look at how small she is. Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, you think? And my controller died on me again? For fuck's sake. Stop! Please.
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite? Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself, have I?
Here's the big reveal.
It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live together here with Hurley.
Ah, Iris, is it? What a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden?
Yes, that's right. And what are your names?
Oh, I'm Ryanosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Runo. Got it. Susie?
And Runo? There's more of this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start.
Yes, and so do I.
Well, aren't you just adorable? Well, first of all, I should probably examine everything, right? I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Lingering beside the fire and watching the flames flicker and dance in the grate. So relaxing.
We can't relax. Not when there's so many interesting things on the mantelpiece. Oh, it's just as we described in the stories.
It is?
Yes, exactly. Inside that Persian slipper, for example. Are my chocolates for 11s? And transfixed by that large jackknife? Is my shopping list for the market? Oh, it's not quite how I remember it being described in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Poor Susato-san, she looks crushed. Got a knife.
A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection.
This is the first time in my life that I've seen a lonely old shoe display as an ornament.
Oh, those are all the mementos that Hurley's collected from his past cases.
Really? Even the bust?
Yes, that's right. When the mood takes him, he likes to throw it on the floor and smash it to dust.
The poor defenseless emperor? Mr. Sholmes destroys it?
Yes, and then he buys a new one.
You make it sound like he has the temperament of an insane sculptor.
Aw, how entrancingly bohemian of him.
Oh god, no! Why am I choking? Let me take another sip then. Ah, there we go. What time is it? It's 9:22, okay. Well, I could probably see this cutscene out and then I'm probably gonna hop off, honestly. So, I don't know when else I don't know when else I would have told you this, but I've been practicing some Metal Gear. That's why I've been making Metal Gear jokes recently again. And it's because I'm practicing for me and Jose's Metal Gear Solid race, which will be in like a month or so. And I want to make sure that I remember how to play the damn game. So I'm doing like a quick run through of Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. And we have a very fun music mod that replaces the Twin Snakes music with the PS1 music, which is it's great. It's been a great time so far, honestly. Look at this tea set. Looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. Seems very sturdy, with an equally sturdy lock.
Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous.
How did you come to that conclusion? Get ready for a Susato takedown.
Oh, that chest contains some of my most valuable things.
And that smile tells you you're not going to give us any clue about what they are. Well, every girl has their secrets, as they say. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help feeling the whole lot's going to topple at any moment.
I keep telling Haley not to cram so much on those shelves.
Good advice.
He wanted to look up something in one of those books a while ago. But he was so tightly wedged in, he couldn't get it out, so he went and bought a new copy instead.
Anything else? Can I not examine the sofa or the chairs? Holy shit, there's so much to examine here. That's a charming little white shelf. Full of charming little bottles, too.
Oh yeah, don't touch any of those. They might explode.
Explode?
Are they exotic chemicals? Do you use them for exciting experiments? Yes, indeed. And as Hurley always says, chemistry is an explosive science.
Sorry?
I agree. A single discovery can trigger an explosion of innovation all around the world.
Or perhaps he just meant it literally. Either way, mental note, do not touch any bottle that belongs to Iris. More tea! What a beautiful English tea set, and so neatly arranged.
It's a favorite pastime of mine. A cup of herbal tea in the afternoon. Tea? Made of herbs? That's right. I grow all sorts of herbs in the garden, so I can experiment with different blends. One moment, don't go away. I'll brew a pot of the special blend that I came up with earlier today.
She looks delighted. I only hope it's safe to drink. I would love to drink some of your tea. We got a typewriter here. That's cool. What on earth is that big black lump over there?
Ah, that fascinating thing's called a typewriter. It's a machine that allows you to write in paper without needing a pen. And wizardly quick, too.
Ooh, that sounds like it'd be very useful for someone like me with a terrible handwriting. Where can I get myself a typewriter? I won't have to print shit out. I think that's all for this side, right? I love this bombastic music. It's great. Oh, I haven't seen this yet. We got some math over here.
Ah, that's my blackboard where I wrote down ideas.
Ooh, interesting. Let's see. Black Peter? What does that mean? Peter Griffin, why did you turn black?
Don't you want to hear what Iris has to say, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'll come back to that blackboard later. Okay, now I think that's everything. Unless I can examine the curtains. No. I think that's all for this side. No, I can't examine the Walter White shit. Well, there's this huge over-the-top machine.
That's the great analytical scope. It can analyze anything, really. Anything at all. That's absolutely incredible. It's one of Hurley's inventions. It took him a whole year. He said it was to help him with his investigation.
What sort of things does he analyze with it? Do you know?
Well, actually, he hasn't used it for anything yet.
Oh. Why not?
Apparently, on the evening he finally completed it, it suddenly occurred to him. I don't actually have anything I need to analyze.
Oh dear.
How about you, Bruno? Do you have anything else you'd like to analyze?
The only thing that springs to mind is this machine itself. And nothing to analyze here. Oh wait, there's some music. I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin, isn't it? Yeah, it's one of the instruments that's playing right now in this very music. Did you know?
Of course it is. Mr. Sholmes is renowned for his violin playing.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. It's often explained in the stories. It's inspirational, Mr. Naruhodo. Inspirational. I immediately started playing the koto, which was the closest Japanese string instrument I could find.
What a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London.
Oh, yeah, well... Papa was beaming when I asked him if he'd buy me one. But after a while, he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house. So, now it's merely an ornament in my room.
That must have been an awkward conversation. Second-rate strings. Man, I'm getting all kinds of random achievements for examining shit. But hey, that's fun. I like doing that. I think I've examined everything. Okay. Well, let's actually talk to Iris then. Actually, no, let's not talk to her. Let's present her some stuff instead. Iris, can I show you this?
Oh, how exciting. What is it? Tell me all about it.
Oh, actually, I was hoping you might be able to tell me something about it if anything comes to mind.
Why would it?
Well, no, I suppose it wouldn't.
Tell me. I want to hear everything.
This hasn't gone according to plan. What about the map? Do you know anything about the map? No. Okay. At least we get that silly little exchange. You know, why don't we just, like, learn a bit about the people out of the case before I continue on? Let's see. Tobias Gregson, 44, the detective inspector in charge of Scotland Yard's investigation of the case. He's stern and single-minded in his approach, and a great lover of fish and chips. Soseki Natsume, 33, a scholar sent to Britain by the Japanese government to further his study of English. He's defendant accused of attempted murder. Iris Wilson, 10, an extraordinary young girl who lives with Mr. Sholmes. She has a degree in medicine and is the author of a popular series of short stories. Damn, how can you be a frickin' chemist and an author at the age of 10? That's what I want to know. How? How does that make sense? It was you that we ran to yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey?
Yes, that's right. You're ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming.
Though at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us.
Like this? Thinking back now. You left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you?
Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade.
Oh, Guinea? Yeah, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It is very naughty of her to pinch my investment like that.
Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should ask about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions.
This girl's dangerous.
Anyway, I brought Guinea back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, you're a technician?
Haley, of course, silly.
Hurley?
Yes, Herlock. Herlock Sholmes. We live here together.
I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Haley if he was my father, would I?
Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes?
Well, I expect you found out that the lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
Your roommates?
I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at last this year.
Well, what of your mother and father?
Oh no, they're not around.
Oh, I see. I don't know what the story is there. That's what I'm wondering.
Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course. Go ahead, Susie.
I'm a very great fan of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes and...
Oh, you have a copy of Rance magazine?
Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship.
Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world.
My stories?
That's right. Haley's always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It'd be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think?
Goodness.
Last night, he was telling me all about the new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came.
So you are the author?
Yes, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm gonna call this latest invention the Speckled Band.
Or adventure, not invention. The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar. So I guess case 2 kinda does have some correlation with this case after all.
Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Sholm's first thought as well, actually.
Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think. Don't you?
So, do you mean to say... Are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in the Rants magazine?
All written by me? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter.
But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson. Susada-san's getting more and more worked up. Don't tell me that's another alias.
Yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson.
But what about the doctor of medicine part?
That's all true too. I'm a doctor of medicine.
No, what, 10 years old?
At 10 years old.
Well, that's quite incredible. But, Dr. Wilson's an English gentleman.
Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly, for the story to be more compelling.
Oh my god, I just realized something. Wilson is her dad, isn't it? Oh no. Oh.
Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow?
I suppose it does, yes. Poor Susada-san. She looks like her whole world's just falling apart. Your deductions just now. About 4.
Yes? What's in your mind, Runo? Do tell me.
How did you know? That I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean. Yes. Oh, and then we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that?
Oh, that's what you mean.
Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail.
Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris Wilson's proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Oh, we're doing this now?
First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Runo. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber.
But you also said that we'd only just arrived in London. How'd you know that?
I observed the passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Oh,
So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you're unaware of London's court affairs.
the Reaper of the Bailey? I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand.
Wait, when did she have that?
You were given that when you visited the local prison and me was a suspect, weren't you? Earlier today?
Oh, that's what that's from.
We use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see.
I didn't realize.
And the red stamp's only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilded, The two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face. So I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see.
But how could you know the trial's tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
A Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been...
Mr. Natsume. Now, Runa has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit's called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it is clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there is only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley's always stabbing his notes with a knife, you know. He's silly. And that's all there is to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions. Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed to ascertain something of Mr. Sholm's delivery.
Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris, please?
The case of the Japanese man. So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying?
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage. But the police are waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
Ah, the great detective's a popular man, it seems.
Apparently, a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There are witnesses who had been short, shifty-looking stooped man.
Wait,
They see a short, shifty-looking stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking stooped man?
Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Soseki-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all. Well, maybe it's because it's just so damn foggy, you know?
Hurley used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police. And what did they find? A short, shifty-looking stooped man, shivering in fear.
Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow's too soon for trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London's rife with crime.
Oh,
Scotland Yard's doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear. I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why we can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first sus person. That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
I suppose it is. But in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Suzeki-san. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As he gets, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Well, I said Hurley's still investigating the scene.
Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Natsume? Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there.
Iris, do you know where those lodgings are?
Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Do you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Ah, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this for me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know.
What is this? A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems. Iris's postcard. A card for Inspector Gregson with a message on the back from Iris. Damn, she's got connections, too? It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem." Gosh, this'll make the inspector help us, will it? Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck then. I'm gonna return writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon.
We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime. Whew, wow. So, somewhat dubious if they exert any influence over the man of Scotland Yard at all. We headed back to the scene with Iris' curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. That seems like a really good place to end then, huh? Alright, nice. We have an actual good place to stop. Finally. So I guess in the next episode we'll do investigation part 2. Alright, well that was some good Ace Attorney. We got to meet some new faces, we got to meet we got to meet Linguini. All sorts of things. Alright, well, oh god, my controller's tangled. Okay, there we go. Well, guys, thank you for watching The Great Ace Attorney. Make sure to like and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch. Oh boy, it's almost 10 p.m. I reckon I probably won't be doing anything else tonight. I take it that's okay. So, yeah. I don't believe I'm doing anything tomorrow, which means we can freely play this game in the morning, just like we usually do. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that then. Alright, well, I'm gonna go play some Metal Gear. I'm gonna go see if I can beat the game tonight, because I've gotten pretty good at Metal Gear Solid, and I'm trying to beat it. Also, I think when I play Twin Snakes, I'm gonna play on hard mode, because normal mode in Twin Snakes is way too fucking easy. Like, so I played Metal Gear Solid 1 and then Twin Snakes back to back, and the difficulty is, like, so noticeable. Like, Twin Snakes has literally no challenge whatsoever. So, I'm thinking I might play on, like, hard mode or something, because, yeah. And, hey, maybe if I do that, I can unlock, like, Tuxedo Snake or something. I don't know. Anyways, I will see you guys then. So, bye.